All right, so I had a conversation the other day where we were talking about this ICE deportation situation that's going on, and what had just happened was the rapper Ice Cube um, had his tour bus firebombed because there was a bunch of miscreants, or really, we'll start with miscreants for now, attacking it because they thought that it was an ICE agency bus. And just this comes on the heels of some other kid, like 22-year-old, going out and shooting indiscriminately at ICE agents when they had detainees in the car. Three were hit, two were killed of the ICE detainees. And I'm like, why is this happening? Why do you think that these attacks are happening? You have this shooting at ICE agents. You have just this new one with them mistakenly attacking Ice Cube's tour bus. And they're like, I don't know, like why? I don't know. These are just random people, and they're gonna get prosecuted. And it's like, well, the one guy committed suicide who shot at the ICE agencies. I don't have updates at this moment in time, I guess, around the fire bombers of the Ice Cube's truck. But they didn't really have any answer, nor did they seem to have any real curiosity about it. But they were like asking me, kind of like, okay, well, what do you think it is? Like, what do you think? What do you think? And I was like, I think when you have these narratives that are going around and you're saying these crazy things, and you're framing everything in this crazy way, you're gonna get extremists, like a small percentage of people. And I was like, what we shouldn't be doing is going out and driving forward this narrative that says there are masked people, there are masked government agents in unmarked cars, hopping out of vehicles, snatching people, disappearing them with no due process, never to be seen again. And it's like, that's not happening. Okay? So I say that, and when you say like that's not happening, the instant reaction is like, oh my god, I can't even. Like in effect, probably what goes on in the mind is like, I can't even have this conversation with you if you don't even think that all of that stuff is happening. I can see all of that stuff happening. But what I can't even get to is like, the reason that that's not happening, at least it's not happening like how you think that it's happening. You kind of have to insert a bunch of context into this situation so that you can fully understand why that statement is BS, why that statement is a hoax, it's a scam. So we can start with, you've got the masked men. Okay, why are there now agents wearing masks? Well, they didn't start off wearing masks. They started off wearing fully outfitted ICE gear, and you could see who they were. They had badges, they had identification, you could see who they were. But then people started doxing them. And so these ICE agents were getting harassed at their homes along with their family. So they were like, okay, well, we need to protect the identities of these people, because this is putting them doing their jobs, is putting their lives and their families' lives at risk. So the masks go on. That's how you have unmasked people. Now, well, what about these unmarked cars? Well, it is kind of weird that you would have unmarked ICE cars running around. Well, why do they have that? Well, that's because they would have, when ICE agents would be driving around, they were identifiable. So people would find these rocks, and there's video of it, and they would be hurling these rocks as all of these ICE trucks were driving by. Just crack. Every car was getting a massive rock through the windshield. So they have to say, I guess we can't show, we have to go unmarked, right? And then it's like, okay, we're just whisking people away. Well, what they used to do is they used to stop, they used to talk to the person, they used to grab them, they used to say, okay, we're explaining to you what's happening right now. But what would happen is during that process, mobs of people would be coming and they would be harassing and they would end up causing a whole bunch of chaos. So what did they have to do? They said, we're going to have to take this process elsewhere. So they grab people and they put them in the vehicles and they take them elsewhere so that they don't have to deal with mobs of people just harassing and messing with them, pushing them, shoving them, throwing things at them, trying to free the people that they're trying to detain. So it's like, okay, and then you get into like with no due process. And I think that what ends up happening is a lot of people think that the due process that they're supposed to be getting is the same as a United States citizen due process. That's not it. If you are here illegally or you're not supposed to be here, you've broken some condition, we can terminate your stay immediately, effective immediately, for the reasons of you no longer being viable to remain in the country. Citizens, maybe probably permanent residents, and visa holders might not even get that ability. But only citizens and probably permanent residents have the ability to say, hey, you can't just deport me. They have an actual due process that is much more widespread, that incorporates a lot more. And when I hear about like, oh, they're disappearing, people are just disappearing, we don't know what happens to them. I don't know of anybody who's just been disappeared. I would imagine we're living in 2025 right now, and we've got social media. Anybody can open up a free X account. If there are thousands of people, as I've heard claims, of people who were just missing all of a sudden for bad reasons, I would imagine that they would be on social media. They can make an account and they can say missing and then say who it was, and then it would create a trend. People would just type in missing, and then a whole bunch of people, and people could write their story, and this is what the situation is. But I'm not seeing any of that kind of stuff happening. I don't think that that's happening. So when I'm looking at this in the entire scope and how everything is getting put together, it doesn't make sense to be so anti-ICE, especially to the degree where you're going to go attack them. So while you have, like, there's masked unmarked cars and all of this like extra scary framing, when you have all of that scary framing, it's clear that it's not really reality. It's not really what our intentions are. It's not really what we're doing. And when you have that kind of warped reality that's just getting pushed out, and you don't properly contextualize and frame the intentions, and it's not like we're not talking about our intentions. We've talked about our intentions a ton. You know, we have to get these people out. 20 million people entered this country within 4 years. That's a crazy amount of people, and we also have to attach onto that deportation of all of those people a message that says, don't come here and expect that you're going to be able to stay here. At any point, your life could be completely uprooted, upended, and you could lose this opportunity forever to be able to come here, which is why we also have a heart, and we said, look, self-deport, register yourself and self-deport, and we'll give you an opportunity. If you can show that you've been a productive person in society, then we can grant you a path quickly to citizenship, even though you have broken our laws. And I think that a lot of people would be okay with that. But when you just have people come and they say, hey, we're going to skirt the law, we're going to continue to skirt, and we're not going to take advantage of this offer that says, hey, exit and you can come back. Instead, they end up getting caught and they get deported, and they are no longer, they're banned from the country. They're no longer able to ever return. And so I think that's something that should be promoted is, hey, all these people, get all of these people out. If you're not here legally, I think that the left should be promoting this significantly, because what the left could do is say, hey, we need everybody to get out. And when you guys get out, it's going to open up the system for immigration reform. And what the Democrats can then do is they can say, hey, we're gonna be here for immigration reform. We're gonna rebuild the immigration reform. So we get everybody out. Then the Democrats, what they can run on is a platform that says these are the conditions that we're gonna bring immigrants in on. And then when you have that, they have an entire platform, and it opens up the gates. And now we have a good control mechanism that both parties, I believe, would be able to agree on. And then people can come in and we would have control over it. So I think that there's ways to work with this system and with what's happening. But when what we do is we just fight and we create these warped narratives that remove the context and villainize not only the process, but also the people and our intentions, it ends up getting people killed, innocent people killed. Whether it was whether it was two ICE agents that were killed and one wounded, or two detainees who were killed and one wounded. It doesn't really matter. Like when you have these ideologies and these framings with these narratives, and they're just getting pumped out, you're going to get this small percentage who's going to buy into this, and that's how you get Charlie Kirk's assassinator, and that's how you get that shooter. That's how you get the people attacking Ice Cube's thing. It's this extra language and framing that villainizes what needs to be done. It's just what needs to be done. And just, I guess, on a last little quick note, like part of the reason why we have to do a lot of this stuff is when you have a lot of immigrants coming in and people who shouldn't be here legally, it creates instability within the population, and then problems arise, and then you have to create a divide to say, here are the citizens, here are the people, and here are people who can fit and work within society, and then you have people who need to get out and they can't work. And you can see this already starting to happen over in with Keir Starmer over in the UK, where now they're creating mandatory work IDs. So you can't even, now the government is having a say in whether you can or cannot work. So that means, in effect, they can push in or push out whoever it is that they want to have in their country. I don't think that that's something that we want to find ourselves in. And I think taking caution now is a really important thing. And us taking steps to remove all of these immigrants can completely eliminate any optical need to have a work permit, basically a government issued work identification that allows you to participate in the economy. Because all that is just a control mechanism. And since Keir Starmer came out and he said that, things are made a lot more clear. Clearly, to me, there's some major power plays that are getting made. These are control apparatuses that are getting inserted into these systems. And the UK, if people sign up for this thing, it's going to be an absolute disaster for the entire country. I would hope that people just really tough it out and they take it on the hard chin and they say, screw it, I'm not going to sign up for this, and then just take whatever life gets thrown at them. And it's going to suck. Like, there's no two ways about it, but in a large sense, it's either that or you kind of lose your country. What's at stake is probably way worse participating in that system than the suffering that you would go through not doing it. But people are people, and a lot of people are just going to say, hey, it's more convenient, it's just an ID, I'm not going to do anything wrong, and they're just going to go with this system. And that may end up just creating the downfall. But the people, the real hard workers, and the people who have real vision, who can create their own businesses and lead stuff, if they are the ones who hold out, they're the ones who are the more important cultural, economic apparatus types, that feed the system. So if they're not participating, then that means that a lot of other people are just not even going to be able to participate anyways. So I don't know. There's a lot of different options and things to go on. It's a little bit of a tangent, but I just heard it, and I managed to kind of tie the two of why immigration control is really important, because you don't want to find yourself in a place you had no idea that you could find yourself. So that's all I got right now. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.